I recently went on a trip to Byron Bay over Christmas. Even though I took my RZ67 with me, I mainly shot 35mm. It was definitely a lot busier than I remember. I guess this time of year with Christmas, just everyone flocks to coastal towns. We stayed at these freestanding apartments surrounded by incredible nature. And yeah, it was only walking distance to the beach too, which was pretty handy. Normally I wouldn't mention accommodation much, but this was so well designed and well put together. The camera I used for the trip was the EOS 500. I actually recently bought a 40mm 2.8 pancake lens from Canon. This lens is super light, so it would match well with the EOS 500, which is light too. So I just wanted something for days that I didn't want to carry around anything heavy. I could just carry this around with that lens, and yeah, it'd be just a super light combo. One of the first days I actually went down to the bay. It's a super popular spot for surfing and one of the main beaches in Byron Bay. It was super overcast actually that day. It was a good chance to test out the 40mm, take pictures of the ocean, the beach, the surrounding rocks, and yeah, just the surrounding surfers too. I really dig the colours of the rocks there, the tones. I think it was like a pinky orangey hues to them. They were really nice, and I took a few photos of them too. There's actually a wooden staircase that leads you up to a viewing point where you can take really good kind of shots of the vantage points there, and it gives you a nice perspective of the surrounding area around you. The roller film I used for these shots was Fuji Superia 400. I'd actually been using a lot of Kodak Portra recently, so I thought I'd change it up, change the colours and stuff with some more Superia. One thing I definitely noticed while being in Byron Bay was there's a lot of vintage cars, classic cars, converted camper vans and other things like that, which is really cool. It ended up being a kind of theme of what I was shooting when I was down there, not intentionally, just by chance of just being attracted to the different vehicles and stuff. Maybe I did spend a bit too much time photographing classic cars. I guess I'm inspired by photographers like First Castle and Can Film, so that's probably where that came from. I finished off my first roll the next afternoon at Broken Heads. It's a lot more calmer, discreet kind of beach. Actually, I think one of the lifeguards told me about it. But yeah, it was just nice to get out somewhere a bit more calm and less people around. It was still quite overcast at this point, so it weren't the most ideal outcomes from the shots, but I was really enjoying driving around and checking out the new spots and just having fun with it really. The surf there was definitely a bit more choppy, but a lot less people there for surfing. Definitely want to check it out another time I'm down there for a surf. Another more summery afternoon, we actually decided to head to Bangalore. This is actually located in the rolling hills of Northern Rivers, about 15 minutes from Byron Bay. I think that's what Google says anyway. The drive to get there is actually pretty breathtaking. There's just hills and hills of green, small lakes and farm animals spotted around, so yeah, it's just really cool. I think it has more of a country atmosphere to it, but at the same time has those coastal qualities which I quite like, so it's a mixture of both. At this point I was on my second roll of Superia 400 and it really gave a pop to the greens, and I think it highly saturated the blues as well. I had to tone it down a little bit in post, but yeah, overall it was a nice tone to the photos. Later on in the day it started to get to golden hour, so there was this nice golden tone to some of the images, which turned out well. I was taking some shots of an old gas station and I walked around the back and I uncovered this really cool car immersed in like overgrown greenery. This was probably my favourite photo from the whole holiday. On the way back to our accommodation, we actually stopped at this warehouse precinct. At this point, the sun was dropping quite low, so it made for some really nice golden tones to the images. The next day we actually had some friends pop over for lunch and I decided to try out some Ektachrome, considering it was midday and it was super bright as well, so it made sense to use that one. A lot of my scans from this roll actually came out quite overexposed. Not really sure why. I was shooting at box speed as well, so it didn't really make sense. But thanks to film and the dynamic range, I was able to pull back the highlights quite a bit and yeah, recover most of the photos. We walked around the surrounding area where we were staying and also to the beach and to the viewing point up the top there. I liked how Ektachrome produced some really cooler tones in the blues, and yeah, the greens as well. It was a really nice type of green that I was getting from it. After the walk we actually stopped off for lunch at this vegan cafe, and yeah, the place was actually surrounded by very unique looking compost gardens, which was pretty cool. I still had a few shots left of the Ektachrome, so I think it was the next day in the afternoon we went to Watergoes Beach and I finished off the roll there. These were possibly my favourite ones from that roll. I guess it was shot later in the day, so that might have something to do with it, but otherwise yeah, I like those ones. And as you can see, I catered for my classic car fixation by shooting some shots of the Mercedes. I think it was a 230e, but yeah, the blues really popped on this one. I like that. On the last day we actually headed back to Bangalore for some lunch. My parents actually hadn't been there, so we thought we'd show them around and yeah, just to see a bit more of the main street there. I managed to capture a few of the trademark buildings there and a few nice moments in between. The film I was using at this point was Fujicolor C200. I normally only use that one for my point and shoot camera, so it was nice to see how it came out on my SLR and the difference there as well. For a cheap film, I really enjoyed it. I think it's something I use in the future when I'm just kind of shooting for fun and not really taking it too serious. It's definitely a good film for that. This was definitely one of my favourite trips as of late. I think I really enjoyed just reading a book, going for a surf, going to the beach, and yeah, just taking photos is definitely my favourite kind of holiday I'd go on. Thanks for watching if you've got this far. I'm sorry if I haven't posted a video in a little while. I've just been enjoying my summer break and a few things have changed with work, so I'm just using that time for that. Definitely in the new year going to be making more videos, trying out different film cameras and different film stocks, and yeah, it should be fun. Also make sure to follow my Instagram for more of my film shots and see what I'm getting up to as well. Thanks for watching. See you later. Peace.